Hey there, Optimized Self ninjas and ninjets. This is Justin Archer, aka your Sensei, coming to you live from, well, as you'll see in just a moment when I take off this little intro preset screen holder dealy thingy, logo, let's call it, from the floor of my living room. That's right, trying to adapt and go with more kind of furnitureless living. As some of you know, my wife Anya and I just moved back to Southern California. We used to live here. So I'll show you around in just a little bit. But I actually wanted to show you the view outside, but with getting internet connected, we've had a few technical difficulties. So bear with me if this show is, the resolution is good, the audio might lag. I don't know, we're on a little bit slower internet than usual. So hopefully everything will stay up and go according to plan. That said, I'm actually very excited about today's show because I'm more and more people using the Optimized Self test. And, you know, where are my manners? For those of you who have never watched the show, quick little intro about what this is all about. The Optimized Self show, it's really all about crowdsourcing questions and you provide the Q, I provide the A, but also other people can provide the A. They can come on the show with me and talk about you know, what they've learned on their journey towards, you know, optimizing their, what I refer to as foundations of health, their breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, movement, exercise, environment, mindset, all so that they can, like I'm sure you and myself and many others that are looking to rediscover their health, upgrade their fitness, and or optimize their wellness. And the way we go about it here is, instead of focusing on just exercise or just diet, is we try to take a more holistic, kind of zoomed out approach via lifestyle design. And we do so while having fun. All right, so in a nutshell, that's what we're all about. We got some great questions today, and like I said, there's a lot more people submitting questions through the Optimized Self test, which I'll share with you guys where you can do that in just a moment. But let me switch over here so I can see you guys. Hold on one second. Hey there. You can see kind of the background of where we're staying at now. It's kind of messy. You can see some exercise equipment over there, over my shoulder. Some stuff from the old postural therapy days that I still use quite frequently. And let me put up something here so that you guys know where to find me. Okay, give me 1 second. I have not figured out how to automate this yet. I'm sure there is a way, I just don't know yet. All right. And if any of you are good at YouTube live events or Google Hangouts, please let me know. I'm always looking to learn new things, tips and tricks and things like that. All right, that's me, Justin Archer, aka Sensei, and you can find me over at optimizedself.ninja. All right. So, little house cleaning before we get started. Like I said, we got some good questions. First of all, I want to thank, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, and if I'm not, please forgive me. I'm terrible on names. But Gurga, G-R-G-A, to the Optimized Self Dojo. Thank you for joining. I know we've chatted a little bit. It was just over the last probably 12 or so hours that you joined, maybe a little bit more than that due to time zone differences. But thank you for joining. Love to have you as a part of the dojo. And I know you're kind of off to the races and just getting started, but yeah, can't wait to see what you get out of it and what I can do to help you more. So welcome. I also want to thank everyone for sending in questions, especially through the Optimized Self test. And like I said, we're going to talk about that later, but that really helps me give the information that I need to give you guys better answers. All right, so thank you for that. So if you are a first-time question asker, first time sending in questions, let me show you how I would prefer you go about it, okay? I mean, you can go about it however you want, okay? I'm not going to force you to go this way, but this will help me help you more. So I'm sharing the screen here. I know it's messy, excuse me. Okay, so if you go over to optimizedself.ninja, okay, it will load up. bear with me here. I'm in a slower internet speed than I'm accustomed to, so I'm kind of like, come on, come on, come on, as I'm sure you are. So if you go here, you'll see this prettier. I think that's my computer taken from some memory. But underneath the video player, there'll be a button here that says click here to take the Optimized Self test and uncover what's holding you back. You'll click that, put in your email, and you'll be emailed a link to take the test. And I'll show you what the test looks like. Okay, let's go out of that. All right. Okay, here we go. And let's view this. And basically, you'll be taken to a Google form. Come on. This is so embarrassing having slower internet. I promise it will be rectified hopefully by next episode. Anyways, put your name, email, and then on a scale from 1 to 10, you rate the quality, and this is, you basically rating yourself here of your breathing, hydration, et cetera, all these foundations of health, from young grasshopper, which obviously is kind of beginner, to master sensei, which is be expert or optimized in. And then this will help you uncover, hopefully, what foundations of health maybe you've overlooked, not addressed, or kind of slacking on. And then there's a part here where you can ask me some questions, okay, that then I can answer on an upcoming episode of the Optimized Self show, like I'm going to do just now, okay? So let's go back here. I'm gonna stop that. There we go, and you guys can see me again. Sorry if I view a little bit off to one side or down. Got some notes to keep me on track here. So yeah, that's where you would post the questions, okay? If you haven't, and I just noticed I went off screen here, but I didn't stop sharing the screen with you guys. If you want to do any follow-up or kind of have more back and forth conversation, you've already done the Optimized Self test, then go ahead and head on over to the Optimized Self Ninja Facebook page. So it's facebook.com/Optimized Self Ninja. Go ahead, like the page, and you could ask your questions there, okay? And also, I also post there daily what I refer to as catalysts of the day. They're short 15-second videos with thoughts, facts, questions, kind of the day. So yeah, check that out. And let's see what else. Like I said, just a little bit more house cleaning, and then we'll get started. Yeah, and the reason, again, I want people to leave the questions through the Optimized Self test is because, again, that gives me more information so I can help you guys. And so if you put your questions there, they will be prioritized. Like today, I had a slew of questions. I had to get to the Optimized Self test because I want to thank those people who took the time to go through it. It only takes a few minutes, but thank you for doing so and investing your time and your interest. I definitely appreciate it. So those, and also they give me more information. A lot of times if people just write me on a YouTube comment, something like, Justin, my back hurts, what do I do? Let's scoot back here so you can get some better lighting. There we go. Justin, my back hurts, what do I do? Obviously that my answer can go every which way, but if it's, hey, my back hurts and here's how my breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, all these different aspects of my life, measure up, then I can go, here's where you want to focus on, here's where you can back off a little bit on, here's where you're doing good on, here's where you need to work on, etc. Right? I could be more specific rather than be more general and then go, well, where do I start? Okay. I want to be as precise and all the content that I create here have more context to what you guys need. All right, so that's why I prefer people go through the Optimized Self test. Last but certainly not least, before we start getting into the Q&A, is if you find any of the topics that I speak on, any of the answers to the questions that people ask helpful to you, or maybe you find them helpful to someone that who is suffering from maybe back pain, hip pain, trouble losing weight, some type of illness or disease, then please forward this on to them. I know they would appreciate it. I would appreciate it as well. And you get to just kind of connect us and be the hero. So if you know anyone like that, please share it with them. That would be great. All right. So moving on. Today we have 2 returning guest questioners and 1 new one. So here's a couple things we're going to be talking about. How to use what's inside the Optimized Self Dojo, which I'll go over that later. Basically, it's a private accountability / support group with various tools, guides, and resources inside to help basically get you from where you are now to where you want to be in terms of health, fitness, and wellness as quickly and efficiently as possible. It's about as nicely summed up as I can do in however long that was, 20 seconds. So how to use what's inside the Optimized Self Dojo to combat multiple symptoms at once. It's a common thing, a lot of people say, hey, I don't have just back pain, I have this, this, and this, and this. Where do I start from? What do I do first, etc. Okay. Why your breathing is the most important foundation of health out of the 7 foundations of health. How to handle stress and treat lower back pain through better time management. Why sprinters should treat hip pain differently than long distance runners, and how I plan to transcend life and death. Hopefully you get that's kind of more of a joke, but kind of not, so stay tuned. All this and more coming up. So let's get into it, but before we do, for those newcomers, yes, it's just a bottle of water, but we play a little drinking game here, which makes it easier for Mawa to edit and put timestamps in later, which I do on YouTube to make it easier for people to find where I start to address their answer. Before I go to the next question, I always take a drink of water. One, to stay hydrated, because obviously I'm talking a lot, and second, it makes it easier for me as I go through the timeline of the video to see, oh, drink some water, all right? Basically, when I drink water, you should drink water. Helps you stay hydrated, all right? You, though, have the luxury of pausing this video at any time and going to the bathroom. I'm recording this live, so I don't, but I'm usually good for an hour. All right. So Vincent from the Optimized Self Dojo, he took the Optimized Self test, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but he is struggling with hip, upper and lower back pain, scoliosis, flat feet, pelvic problems like tightness, rotation, tilt, combination of all those things, and also has lordosis, kyphosis, scoliosis, the list goes on and on. So multiple symptoms, multiple postural dysfunctions, compensations, all happening at once. Okay, so this is what I referred to as, what do you do when you have multiple things going on at once? Where do you start? Well, he took the Optimized Self test, and the lowest foundation health score he had, granted he was grading himself, was breathing. He gave himself a 6, and everything else was higher than that. So I'm addressing Vincent here, and for anyone inside the Optimized Self Ninja who's maybe suffering from similar symptoms, postural dysfunctions, compensations like that, perk your ears up. For those of you not inside the dojo, this will be a chance for you to learn more about what's inside and how it can benefit you. Okay, so I'm gonna be talking towards Vincent, but you guys could, listen in on this as well. So Vincent, knowing that you do have access to the Optimized Self Dojo, I would recommend you go into, and for those of you that don't know, the dojo is basically a private Facebook group. There is a paywall, which you can go find at optimizedself.ninja. You can sign up. I think right now you can get a lifetime membership access for starting at $13. Yeah, it's either 13 or 14, but I think it's 13. One-time payment. You're good for life. All kinds of great stuff inside. Like I said, we'll get to that later. But go inside there, and then inside the dojo, it's basically a private Facebook group, and inside there's a link to a file which is called the Optimized Self Arsenal. And inside there, it's basically a shared Google Doc. You're going to go to the Optimizing Your Breathing module, okay? And watch the presentation, learn all about breathing, and check out the breathing self-myofascial release techniques. Learn how to breathe into restricted areas. There's a link, a video tutorial to that. Do the east-west breathing routine for condition 2, given that you have scoliosis. You and I have talked a little bit, Vincent, and I know you have several asymmetries, so that's definitely you're more towards condition 2 than 1 or 3. So check that routine up. Check that routine out. And then there were a couple more things I wanted to talk about. Let me see what Vincent had written down. All right. Let's see. And here's why, a couple reasons I recommend for Vincent to focus on the breathing. I asked the question, when it comes to your health, fitness, and wellness, what is the biggest problem or issue that you struggle with or have in the past? And this is a question I posed inside the Optimized Self test. And Vincent replies, not enough energy due to a B12 deficiency. Yes, granted, that is a contributor. Again, injections of folic acid and vitamin D now, and it seems to be fixed. For now, the muscle imbalance is the biggest problem. That's how came to find you. So yeah, B12 deficiency, folic acid, vitamin D, all those things can lead to lower energy levels. The other thing that can lead to lower energy levels is, like he mentioned before, a muscle imbalance, which leads to postural misalignments, which leads to the kinetic chain between the pelvic girdle and the shoulder girdle and what's in between, i.e. the torso, being disrupted, and your proper breathing mechanics not functioning properly, meaning that you're not breathing from your diaphragm like you're designed to do. And that means not enough blood and oxygen is getting pumped through your body to your brain and to your extremities. And so that's also going to mean less energy. So it's imperative that you restore the proper breathing mechanics. And that's everything inside that optimizing your breathing module, all the things that I just listed. That's where I would recommend you start with. Breathing is the most important foundation of health. Okay, it goes breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, movement. I know you can't see up here, so I'll go here. Then exercise. Okay, so definitely start with that. Let's see. And he had another question for me. He said he got a hold of his old osteopath, and his osteopath told him that the scoliosis comes from a condyle in the back of his head. It's something about its position. He says there's nothing to do about it because it's part of a bigger bone structure, the occiput, yes, or the occipital ridge, possibly, that he might have been referring to. He also says that this asymmetry is common. Could you explain this? What does it mean? And is he right? Is there nothing to do about it? And what are the effects on my scoliosis? So, given that the osteopath has the knowledge, the experience, and the tools to check that stuff, let's go with, yeah, he's right. He's going to definitely know better than I can with as little knowing of Vincent as I do, and not knowing where to look and how to test for that stuff. But here's the thing. So no, you cannot change the condyle on the on your occiput or occipital ridge, probably without surgery of some sort to remove it, which, let's leave that for worst case scenario, last ditch effort. Okay, so no, you can't exercise or eat your way out of that. And would it affect your posture and asymmetries? Well, yes, it would. It would be a contributor to it. But earlier, Vincent wrote, let me find it here, that he has flat feet and pelvic problems like rotation, difference in tilt. He also has lordosis, kyphosis, things like that. Well, think about how small the area is on the back of your head, where the condyle is. That's this much of your body. Okay, I'm probably exaggerating. It's even this much. So it's going to have an effect, but not as much as the bigger things, the hip, the position of your hips, the position of your knees, the position of your feet, the position of your shoulders. All that is going to matter more. So and those are things you can control, right? With the exception of, again, having surgery and taking that condyle off. There's nothing you can do to change that, but you can change your lifestyle. And first and foremost, again, I would focus on your breathing. Okay, so that's the good news, is there is something you can do to change that. What else? He says, I also had, before going to the gym and before I got these problems, tension on the right side of his pelvis. So this was even before I did a lot of exercises. He believes it has something to do with the mobility between the sacrum and the pelvis and the contents of the stomach, one of which is the diaphragm, right? I've had a problem also. Oh, he says also you've had like kind of without getting TMI or too much info, some digestive kind of bowel problems as a young child. How can he use this information for the current situation? Should I be extra careful on the right side of the pelvis? Won't get hurt. So no, I would not recommend being extra careful because then you're going to actually guard that side, and that's going to change your gait, how you walk, how you carry yourself, and it's going to then alter your posture, most likely for the worse. But there's a couple of key things in here that he said about being in the pelvic region between the sacrum and the contents of the stomach. Well, that area that you just described, Vincent, is your diaphragm. And your diaphragm actually ties into, and for those of you that don't know, let me adjust my position and show you. Basically goes from the rib cage, I'll kind of outline it, and it goes through here into the pelvic floor. So, and it actually attaches to every, not to every, but it attaches to your lower back, your pelvic floor, your hip flexors. So yeah, I would definitely say try to free up your diaphragm and get it moving again, because the average human takes 22 to 30,000 breaths per day. And by restoring function to that and getting it moving again, you're going to gain more blood and oxygen to that kind of pelvic sacrum area, of course, your stomach area. And that's going to, again, get more blood and oxygen to everything. It's also going to almost act like as an inside-out internal massage to your lower back, to your pelvis and everything. And that's going to feed slack to your body. So it's going to help with the flat feet. It's going to help with the lordosis, the kyphosis, and all the other postural misalignments, if you will. Okay. So yeah, breathing is key. Let's see. Which is funny because then his next question is, you're going to ask two in the Optimized Self test. What is the #1 advice that I would recommend for people? And really, it's key. It's tough to focus on one, but I would say really being that breathing is the #1 foundation of health, right? It's what we need as humans in order to not only survive, but to also thrive. It would be to start with breathing. Get back in touch with how your body's breathing. A lot of people have become habitual in how they're breathing, and they're breathing incorrectly. As a matter of fact, I've never seen someone come to me for help in chronic pain who's breathing correctly, So, and by correctly, I mean that diaphragmatic breathing. Chest and shoulder breathing, neck breathing is okay if you're running sprints, if you're running away from a cheetah or something like that. But it should not really be occurring when you're just sitting and talking and going about your normal day, okay? So breathing, the quickest tip I would give someone for breathing, breathe in and out through your nose. That'll automatically help trigger your diaphragm more. So, and to calm the central nervous system, as well as to loosen up here, because imagine if you're breathing up here 22 to 30,000 times per day, no wonder you're tight and painful up there, is inhale 3 seconds, or it doesn't have to be the seconds, inhale 1 to 2 exhale ratio. So for example, 3 seconds in, 6 seconds out. It's about 6 seconds. So that's what I'd recommend, okay? And do that for literally as little as 3 breaths. Can change stress levels, can change tension in your body, can change energy levels. So that's what I recommend is to get back in touch with diaphragmatic breathing, okay? And one last thing to show you, instead of breathing this way, so the belly goes out, think about breathing laterally. That's why I call it east to west. So it pushes outwards on your hands, okay? So let's see, let me check to make sure if Vincent had any other questions. Oh, I scrolled down too far, excuse me. East-west breathing. And let's quickly review. He had some notes about his other foundations health. Hydration, 2 to 4 liters of water a day for sure. That sounds good, Vincent. I don't know how much you weigh, but yeah, you want to shoot for half your body weight in ounces of water. So I would try to probably make it go 2.5 to 4 liters. Maybe 4 liters might be too much. Maybe 2.5 to 3 liters. But make sure you get some. Add some Himalayan salt, the pink salt, or some sea salt to your foods, and you can find that stuff at pretty much any grocery store nowadays. And you can sprinkle it in water, or you can sprinkle it on your food to taste. You don't have to go overboard or anything, but that'll really help you absorb the water. Excuse me 1 second. I just want to make sure that we're still recording, since, like I said, I'm a little iffy about this internet connection, but looks like we're good. So let's see, sleep. Says he's sleeping usually 8 hours. Awesome. Nutrition, said it was bad before, but since I started exercising, I started to eat healthy. Good to hear. Vincent, the question I would pose to you if you were sitting right here in front of me, I know you are virtually if you're watching this, is how do you define healthy? And I don't mean that, I really mean I'm curious to know, because people will tell me I eat healthy or I eat clean, and I find that people's perception of clean or healthy seem to vary to quite a degree. And so what I'd recommend is, after you look through the breathing stuff, focus on that first, is go to the Optimizing Your Nutrition module, and it will show you how to go step by step, or if you even want kind of the shortcut, is go to the Optimized Self Quick Start Guide, and under the nutrition part, it will give you the to-do of how to go through an elimination diet to test for food intolerances. Because a lot of times people will be eating a food that they believe to be healthy for them, to be good for them, when later on they find out that food is like kryptonite to Superman. It's actually harming them. So go look at that. I'm not going to get too deep into that right now, but you can check that out at your own convenience and learn more about that. Stress, don't feel stressed, he says. We're going to get more into that later on how you can actually quantify that. Because a lot of people say, I'm not stressed, I'm fine. And there's actually a scientific quantified way that you can say, yes, I am stressed, or no, I'm not stressed. And you don't want to not be stressed. Stress is good. There's eustress, which is good stress. There's distress, there's bad stress. And we're never going to be without stress. But you can actually train yourself, and we're going to get this later with someone else's question about stress. You can actually train yourself on how your body and your mind respond to that stress. All right. Let's see. Movement, try to move a lot, go for walks, lunch break. Awesome. Exercise, used to go to the gym 3 times a week, but now focus on restoring the body. So not exercising much. Let's see, doing some foam roll and everything. Good, good, good. Yeah, exercise, it's a foundation health, but I put it at the top, not because that's the most important, but because it's the results you get from exercise are really kind of predetermined by how optimized you have the other foundations health: breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, movement. You can do a little exercise before, but don't expect miracles until you've gone through those other foundations of health. Okay. Let's see what else. Environment, he says, not sure what I meant by that as far as family, living environment. They seem all okay. Yeah, family and everything like that, friends, is great in terms of environment. What I was actually referring to is, for example, if you were trying to eat better, but you have unhealthy things in the house, then that your environment would not be conducive to your goal. Or for example, like I've talked about in the past episode, if your hips are anteriorly shifted, I know I'm kneeling here, not standing, but if they're like this out in front of you, you're leaning forward, and you're wearing a positive heel shoe, one where your heel sits higher above your toes, then the environment that your foot is in, the shoe, is not conducive to your goal, which is to get your heels on the ground so you can get your hips back above your knees and ankles and below your shoulders and ears. Okay, so that's kind of what I meant by environment. Or the workstation, great thing I love about laptops, you can put them anywhere. I have them on a probably 18-inch ottoman here, and I'm working on the ground. which is a lot different than sitting in a chair and working at a desk. You know, I could be sitting, for example, you know, with one leg up, one leg down, and then I could switch. Excuse me, don't mean to give you guys a crotch shot. You can do the, you know, kind of what they refer to as a toddler squat or a paleo chair and work from here with your body upright. And this total health being accumulative is going to have a much greater effect on the outcome, the results you get, need, want, or desire, than, you know, simply trying to do more exercise or trying to do the exercises harder. Okay, so these are some of the things I'm referring to as environment. I could be just as well recording this show from sitting in a chair or sitting over there on that couch, but then my body would eventually take the shape or cast of that chair, sofa, ottoman thing over there, instead of me using my muscles to hold myself upright. You know, right now I'm even sitting cross-legged. I'll kind of go more into like a half lotus pose, and you know, now I'm here. You'll notice I'm fidgety. I switch around. That's natural. Okay, it's basically how we're designed. And I think that is it. Oh, and Vincent also pointed out that on a past little 15-second video I did, I said Dr. Joseph McCullough wrote an article that shows that those who have difficulty rising from sitting on the floor are 6.5 times more likely to die than a person who has no problem performing this test. And he says it's not even possible to be more likely to die. The likelihood to die is 100%. For everyone, you can't be more or less likely to die. It is a certainty. So thank you, Vincent, for calling me out on my and/or the article's mistake. I basically just pulled it from there. As Sensei, I fall on my sword as a samurai, and yeah, I think what the article and I meant is that what Dr. Joseph McCullough found was that sorry, thing telling me to drink water, but we're not ready for the next answer. We're still talking to Vincent. Yeah, what the article was talking about and what I was referring to is that those that can easily get up and down off the ground are 6.5 times more likely to live longer, healthier lives than those that aren't. So those that can't will probably die prematurely or before those that can easily get up and down. But to go against what Vincent says, yes, likelihood to die is 100% for everyone. I don't know, man. You know, technology is getting better. I definitely, as the future goes on, depending on how this whole transcendence thing goes, you know, I might look into downloading my subconscious and seeing if I can upgrade to, you know, Justin 2.0 and then 3.0 as different parts and everything come out. So you don't know. You never know. It's crazy what's happening these days. But that's a whole nother topic for another show. Anyways, Vincent, I hope that helps answer your question. Yeah, and we'll move on to the next one. So thank goodness too, because my mouth is dry and some water. All right. So Liv from episode 8, she took the Optimized Self test. So Liv, thank you very, very much for following up from the last episode and doing what I suggested. The information I got from the Optimized Self test will definitely help, you know, me help you more. So thank you very much for that. I love interacting with you guys. So thank you. Let's see. Liv struggles with lower back pain and depression. Her lowest foundation health score was a 4 in terms of stress. And she had some questions here. Let me go to it. All right. She says, what suggestions do you have for juggling all the things in the day that we need to do? Posture exercises, preparing proper and very nutritious meals, getting to bed on time. What habits do you have that help you achieve this? Awesome, awesome question. So let's take that one at a time. Let me move stuff over here so I can see. So the first one was posture exercises. Now, she came to me through a website that I used to run. Technically, I still do. It's up. I'm just not adding to it, called thepostureguy.com. It's all about using postural corrective exercises to correct your posture and get out of various chronic pain symptoms. And I love that. I still believe it, and I use it working with people one-on-one and my retainer clients through OptimizedSelf.ninja. But what I've learned over the years is that it's not all exercise. We got to take off the single factor focus kind of blinders and look at, you got to keep in mind that our bodies are stimulus response organisms, and they respond to stimulus 24/7 without prejudice. So it's what you do the majority of the time that matters, not your best intentions. Meaning that 30 minutes of exercise cannot and will not counter 23.5 hours of suboptimal living if you're not breathing, hydrating, sleeping, all those other things properly. And you don't have to be perfect in them, but let's shoot for 80% and above optimal, okay? So that said, in terms of taking time to do exercise, I would say exercise less and move more. A lot of people go to yoga and they do yoga poses, but they're on the floor a lot. Well, guess what? I'm doing this right now. I'm on the floor. And like I said, I was in a half lotus. Now I'm going to switch sides on the half lotus. And I could be doing certain yoga poses, easier ones. I'm not going to do crazy back bends while trying to talk to you guys. But I could be doing that on the comfort of my own home. It's literally just making the choice. You can go sit on the couch or you can go sit on the floor, and neither one takes more time. It's just making the choice. You can put, positive heeled shoes on, which are going to kind of screw up your posture, or you can wear neutral or negative heel toe shoes, which for most people are going to benefit their posture. Therefore, not needing to take more time to do exercise, but simply changing your environment to be conducive to you succeeding, and just making different choices, okay? So move more and exercise less. The one about, meal preparation, cooking healthy meals, I would say prepare your meals ahead of time and for several days out. You can also use things like a slow cooker, so there's not too much hands-on time. You pretty much just kind of set it, forget it, until you eventually, eat it. Or if you can't afford it, get someone else to cook for you. There's also a lot of these services that are popping up that allow you to order healthy meals to you. So check those out. Again, if your budget allows for it. Let's see. As far as going to bed on time, set 2 alarms. Sorry, I'm kind of overexposed here. 1 alarm to turn off all screens. You want that about 30 to 60 minutes before you intend to go to bed. So all screens, tablets, phones, TVs, all that stuff off, because the blue, white light from it will screw with the quality of your sleep. And then a second alarm, which actually tells you to go to bed. All right, I would say that's more important than an alarm to wake up, because if you go to bed at a regularly scheduled time, 7 days a week, you will get up at a normal time. I haven't used an alarm for probably a year and a half now, and yeah, it's wonderful, and quality of sleep has improved too. Let's see, what else? I also, inside the dojo, if you want to find out more, you can go to optimizedself.ninja, and in there, there is what's known as optimizing your habits, okay? And there's a whole program that shows you how to make tiny habits, which then make monumental shifts in your life. And then kind of the successor to that, after you're done with that, is using the Optimized Self Journal. And it's great for helping you focus on what's most important. It's really great at time management. It also helps with stress, depression, all kinds of things. Again, go to optimizedself.ninja, scroll down below the video player and below the button you clicked to take the Optimized Self test, and it'll tell you all about what's inside there. And if you have any other questions, if you so choose, if you're thinking, hey, I kind of want to join, but I have a few questions, feel free to contact me. All right. Let's see. And she had one more question, I know. Where is it? What tips do I have to deal with stress? Big topic, I know, but you did ask. That's right, I did. So stress, I touched upon this a little bit earlier about, stress and things you can do. So number 1 is relearn how to breathe. We talked about this with Vincent. And again, there's a whole module that I do inside the Optimized Self Arsenal, which is inside the Optimized Self Dojo, about this. Stress is the quickest way that you can change your stress. It's really cool. I can get mad at something or do push-ups and see my heart rate go up. Take 3 diaphragmatic breaths, 1-to-2 ratio, inhale to exhale, and watch my resting heart rate drop significantly. It's amazing. So relearn to breathe from your diaphragm, do less, and which I know is easier said than done. Some people are very much doers and they thrive on that, but do less, and look into heart rate variability training. Okay, and if you don't know what that is, it's the it's kind of like biofeedback. So there's these different devices, some of which are actually just apps. Let's see, I'm gonna find them for you here. One is, I thought I actually wrote them down. Yeah, there you are. HRV Sense, Sweet Beat, and Inner Balance apps. So those are all apps you can find in the iOS store. They may be for Android, that let you actually use your phone or mobile device to test your heart rate variability, and that's the time in between heartbeats. And the greater that says the better you can handle stress. And then you can see, and I mentioned this to Vincent actually earlier, is what stresses you out, and you can train yourself to almost kind of turn off your fight or flight response, because you think how much energy we expend wasting worrying about things we have no control over, or getting mad at people and holding on to that anger. So this is actually a quantified way that you can do so. And I had the Inner Balance one is the best, but you do need this little adapter. I think it cost about 80 or 90 bucks, and this part plugs into your phone, your iOS device. It's a lightning port there, if you can see. Sorry, I know it's washed out. And this part actually goes to your ear like that. All right, and that's it. And there's actually little deals that will take you through, breathing techniques and things like that. It's really, really cool for learning to control your stress. A lot of people think, there's stress, there's nothing you can do about it. Well, first you can eliminate distress, and then you can optimize your body. You can train your body on how to deal with whatever stress is left over. So I think that comes about. And then the other thing I would recommend you check out, other than if you decide to join Vincent and the rest of us inside the Optimized Self Dojo, is check out the Optimizing Your Habits, definitely, the Optimized Self Journal, that'll be helpful, and then also the Optimizing Your Stress module, which is inside, like I said, the Optimized Self Arsenal, which is inside the Optimized Self Dojo. It's like a meat and a taco inside of a shopping mall inside of something. So definitely check that out. And I think that covers it for Liv. Let me take one last look. Yeah, I think that's good. And let me grab some water, and we will move on with our final question. All right. Okay. Let's see. Ray sent me an email and a question and a pic, which I'll show you guys in just a little bit. And he was asking, let's see. Hey, Justin. Well, I definitely have an anterior pelvic tilt, which let me just show you this so you guys can see too. It doesn't show a face or anything, so there's no worry. You guys aren't going to know who this guy is. All right. So let's go here. And I have an anterior pelvic tilt. I really am grateful that I came along some of your videos. Thank you for that. I am at a D1 level school, nice, for track, and no one could solve my issues for hips. In high school, I had a serious hip injury, and ever since, I have had tight hips and hamstring injuries that would end my session. Been there, done that myself, man. My question is, I'm a little confused on whether I am a part of the long and taut group or the short and tight group. Thanks again, Ray. And here you can see, here's the anterior pelvic tilt, which is marked by, you can see his waistband, but his posterior superior iliac spine, otherwise known as the PSIS, back here, those little bony protrusions, or he's probably slender enough that he has kind of the PSIS dimples is higher than his ASIS, otherwise known as anterior superior iliac spine. They're tilted like that. Now, I can't see from the rest of the video where his, if here's his hip and his knee's probably trying to see the brightness. It's kind of bright in here, you know, down this way. I can't see where his ankle and some of the rest is, so I'm gonna do the best I can. But here's what I do know from working with a lot of sprinters and long distance runners is sprinters tend to be short and tight in musculature, especially of their hip flexors, and long distance runners tend to be long and taut. So, you know, again, basing this off of Ray, the picture you sent me, your description, and just a lot of experience working with runners, I would use the short and tight. And for those of you wondering what article he's talking about, it's a video post that I put up over on the thepostureguy.com, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes on the YouTube description so you guys can take a look at it and know what Ray's talking about. But it basically talks about how to figure out if your hip flexors, because they get painful if they're either short and tight, bound up, or long and taut, like they're stretched to their limit, in which case you definitely don't want to stretch them. So there's different ways to treat them, and therefore that's what I said earlier, is there's different ways to treat hip pain in sprinters versus long distance runners. Okay, and Ray, I would love to give you more information, but it would be very, very general. So like Vincent and Liv did, if you go head over to optimizedself.ninja, wait, there it is, and click on the button to take the Optimized Self test, that would be great. It'll give me more information so that I can give you a better quality answer. All right, and that goes for anybody else watching. And let's see, I think that about covers it. I'm actually really happy that we made it through with this internet connection we've been having. Have a lot of issues the last day or two, but hopefully I'll have it figured out. I do want to share with you guys this view before I go. You gotta check this out. I know, give it some time to adjust. Granted, I'm on the floor, and hopefully in future episodes, I will actually be reporting out on the deck there and show you that. But yeah, an amazing view. And I actually put up a Facebook post, actually through Instagram, where you can follow me as well too, a picture of the sunset here, which is absolutely breathtaking. Definitely recommend checking out. Try to remember to link it up in the show notes below. But yeah, I really hope to. The weather's great, and it would be so cool to do these shows outside with the view here of the mountains, and I can see Topanga Canyon over here to my left. That would be, wow, what an amazing backdrop for the show. So hopefully I get that figured out, and hopefully on the next episode of the Optimized Self Show, we'll have that all figured out. All right. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. No, I think that's it. I'm going to wave bye to you guys and switch over here to this outro slide. I keep saying it, and I'm going to try to follow through this, is to remember to put annotations on these buttons, but I will put links to all of them in the show notes via YouTube. All right. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining me. If you found any information here helpful, then definitely please go take the Optimized Self test. And I would also love to have you be a part of the Optimized Self Dojo. That'd be awesome. And let's see what's left. Basically, if you're watching this on YouTube, please give it a thumbs up if you like it. You can also give it a thumbs down if you disliked it. You can leave a comment, I guess, if your feelings are more complicated than that, or if you have a question for me. And please share this with someone that you care about, that you think could benefit from this type of information. I know they would appreciate it, and I know I would appreciate it. And as always, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe so that way you stay up to date on the most recent happenings over at OptimizedSelf.ninja. All right, anyways, thank you guys once again for joining me. I love you, you're awesome, and I will see you guys next time. Until then, take care and be a good human.